meaning that certain cultures emphasize certain things, and as we build this global value system, we must be cognizant of the different meanings. So this again is coming from the Ubuntu notion, where the collective, the extended family is more important than the individual. The extended family is more important than the nuclear family. In fact, Ubuntu is a critique of Western individualism. So as Westerners appreciate Ubuntu, they must not do it conveniently. They must also accept that actually it's another way of looking at how to organize society. Whereas in Europe and North America, the emphasis is on individual freedom. In Africa, it is the community. It takes a village to bring up a child. That's an African notion. In terms of religion, for example, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddha, Hindu, that's not enough. They're African religions, which are 2,000 years old. So as we proffer views on spirituality, as we proffer views on values, let us acknowledge our diversity around values, our diversity around religions. And by the way, we are not saying there's a superior religion and an inferior religion. We're not saying there's a superior culture and an inferior culture. They're different cultures, and that difference must be understood as a strength, leveraging our diversity. Diversity as a source of creativity, diversity as a source of strength. That's what we want to do, because sometimes the tendency is that most of the thinking, most of the analysis is done by Eurocentric people, European-driven, American-driven, at the expense of China, at the expense of India, at the expense of Africa. No.
Beginning the Enlightenment, of course. I think we're at the end of a 300-year run of a liberal vision of the world. However you want to call it, or maybe some call it the modern. And I think that vision is in some trouble, not predicting its demise, not yet, but it's in some trouble now because in the last 30 years, to this day, since the end of the Cold War, that liberals around the world have pursued a rather extreme ideological version of modern liberalism, which precludes and excludes other possibilities, both intellectually and economically, to the point where I think the leader of the liberal world, the United States, of course, had committed what Paul Kennedy defined as imperial overreach, both externally and internally. Externally, it's gone too far in trying to impose its vision on the rest of the world, on so many countries, to some extent, in some cases militarily, to rather disastrous consequences. And internally, it's taken this vision of the world which places the individual as the autonomous basic unit of society at the center of the universe. Internally, it's gone pretty far since the Reagan and Thatcher revolution with the neoliberal economic doctrine that has led to tremendous inequality in developed countries that are generating this backlash against the liberal tradition, both the liberal tradition and globalization itself. Mm-hmm. And these problems are not being solved. So I think that's partially how I see it from the outside, from a non-liberal society, the trouble with the liberal.
Which will be useful for everybody to carry on in life.
So unity is very important. Without unity, you cannot achieve anything. All through history, great things have been achieved because the people who achieved them came together with a common purpose, and they achieved that purpose.
We must change our attitude And we are going to see that we create our own African personality and identity. It's the only way in which we can show the world that we are ready for our own.
The idea of a united African government has not been achieved yet. It's the youth. They should stand up
and make use of the foundation the old people have done to build something better for the future.
The only way Africa can become itself is through unity, nothing else.